Welcome back to the official ESPN Louisville pregame show. I'm your host, Marcus Maven, taking you home for the last hour before the matchup of the century, or at least the season, Florida State and the University of Louisville, or I should say University of Louisville and Florida State. Here's the thing. You can get through an entire season and end up right here. You would have signed off coming into this year with your University of Louisville Cardinals roughly 22-5. Mitch, can you clear that up for me? Are we talking 22-5 here? 22-5, and a matchup against Florida State in Florida State for basically the inside track to an ACC championship. You 23-5. You would have absolutely signed up for any record that was similar to that. Now, if you could go back in time, you would have tried to negotiate out a Kentucky win and maybe two more losses. But outside of the Kentucky loss, this was the perfect season that you would have signed up for heading into this year. If I told you you'd have a one-game lead on Duke, you would have had a chance to split, and because you're ranked higher, or you won't be ranked higher, but if you split with Florida State, you will have the inside track because you had the most recent win at the ACC championship. Deal! You would have took it. Here you are on February, 23rd? 24th? 23rd. 23rd? Golly, I should know these things. It's late season. February 24th with that opportunity. Now here's the thing. Everybody I've talked to around the studio, most people in the public, most callers, 267-9680, by the way, is the number. Everybody has an unnervingly confident feeling about this game. Now, I don't in particular, not because I don't think the team's ready to play. Nothing like that. I just think Florida State's dodged a whole lot of bullets as of late. I think Florida State, not being a traditional basketball powerhouse, I think their sold out arena is going to be the difference to push them through. Now, I hate, and trust me, you know me. You've listened to me for years on Middays with Marcus Maybe. You listened to me on the Dina Show. You've listened to me on years and years of pregame shows, and you know the last thing I want to do is get unnervingly insecure about a late season matchup. But that's what the word is, matchups. I just think at the top of the line, the matchup problem with Florida State just exists. And it's not just the offensive man. Let me get that clear. It's not just the offense that Florida State runs, kind of the style they get into the middle of the paint and just shoot over the top. It's not the length. It's actually their defensive style. Their defensive style of taking away the easy passes to the wings. I think the way we run offense, we like to provide a lot of space for the guy with the ball. Now, the problem with that to me is Florida State has its best defender on David Johnson, the guy who stops the dribble the best. Because here's the thing, people don't really remember the first Florida State game. David Johnson got a lot of playing time, but here's the thing: the strongest on-ball defenders will be guarding David Johnson. I mean, it will make it a little difficult for him to work his magic. Nobody else really tries to penetrate to the basket on this team. We just don't have a lot of guys that do a lot with the ball in particular. So that Florida State denial of the wings causes Jordan to have to go farther away, Ryan to go farther away. Everybody who gets the ball in the wings, they have to go further and further, and they just don't exploit the backdoor cut. Like, we have a play or two where we can do that, but just traditionally, I even did this, people, and don't call me a lunatic. I went back to the Florida State Xavier tournament game, right? And I hate to start a show like this, but it looked a lot similar. You know, it just looked like they had the guys to keep on pushing Xavier out further and further. And again, remember that was the big Florida State upset. Now, don't get me wrong. That Florida State team was really, really good. This Florida State team is really, really good. Like teams at this level that are ranked this high are really good. And it's not that you don't have a chance. I just don't like the small possessions where you get a open fast court transition dunk. Like last time, Louisville probably gave up 12 to 14 points where they just got out in transition and just went out athlete, went out aggressive. Now, listen, I do realize this Louisville team is a much, much more improved team since Florida State. Actually, that is going to be the thing I'm looking forward to seeing the most. Who made the biggest improvement between last game, Louisville, and this Florida State team? Because here's the thing. Not only is this a battle for quite possibly the ACC championship, these two coaches are battling for Coach of the Year. They're really the only two candidates for Coach of the Year. Leonard Hamilton, he's won multiple. Curiously enough, Dick Vitale tweets out today, very curious, Steve Rummage sent this to me actually. Mitch, let me ask you this. How would you feel as a Louisville fan if you saw Dick Vitale tweet out, win or lose, Leonard Hamilton is the Coach of the Year? Not in the ACC, I don't think. Or if he did, it was maybe maybe 7 years ago or something. You know, maybe a long time ago. They've had good years. Yeah, they've won the ACC tournament, and guys who've done that usually don't get, unless they're like overwhelmingly the best team in the conference. For him to be second or third place in the conference right now, and for Dick Vitale to tweet out, no matter what, win or lose, with three, I think North Carolina State on the road, or no, Virginia on the road maybe. Yeah, everything's on the road, by the way. Who do I have on this? Win or lose, though, to give him the Coach of the Year, that's I, well, I wouldn't go that far, but we'll see about that. Lawrence, thanks for joining us on the official pregame show. Fire away. Chilling. No, you know what, Lawrence? I appreciate the call. I agree with you about halfway. Now, I don't think this is going to be a free throw kind of game. When you start getting to the end of the year, the only free throws that it really comes down to are the clutch free throws, the late game free throws, the free throws within the last 2 minutes of the game. I don't think they call a lot of fouls. I mean, let's not get this confused, people. This is full tilt tournament time. One of the first feelings I got after the North Carolina game is I don't get to celebrate because we got Florida State on Monday, which is peak epitome of tournament. You know, your team plays on that Thursday, you have to be ready Saturday. Your team plays on Friday, you have to be ready on Sunday to play a game against an entirely new opponent. That is exactly 100% where we are right now. And another kind of curious thing, Louisville didn't go on the road until today. Louisville did not take their flight to Tallahassee until this morning. Now a bit of a changeup. I don't know if Coach Mack, thought he needed, the time at home. I don't know if he thought the guys would be better served. They're just, getting some shots up, getting a good hard workout in their home gym. But yeah, let's not get that confused. They waited till this morning to leave. I don't know if this a confidence thing. I mean, like I said, I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew how many times they waited till the day of. The only one that was mentioned earlier was the Kentucky game, but to me that kind of doesn't count because that's like a bus ride, so it's not like actual airplane ride. And again, we're talking about charters. We're talking about you don't go through a terminal. You charter and then you get on a bus and then you go to the gym. You probably get some shots up. They probably give you your basketball clothes on the plane, or give you a book bag on the plane. And as soon as you get there, like you jump right into your clothes and get a good shooting workout. With that being said, I don't think anything like that, like travel time or I don't think that affects the game at all. I think again, the urgency that is pumped into Florida State by the fact that they have a sold out crowd is going to keep them from, not that you sleepwalk. Louisville ends up at number 11, which is another interesting thing. The polls come out, and Louisville does not move. 2 games, Syracuse, North Carolina, by a combined 40 points, you win, and you stay at number 11. Now, that's a conversation that I would put on the MAC camp to use for the extra bit of motivation. Louisville does play good in the hunter position, right? Like whichever team, to Lawrence's point, whichever team comes out with that hunter attitude is going to have a huge advantage. Louisville not moving from number 11 should be a little piece of artificial inflation or artificial bulletin board level disrespect if you want to play that card. Now, it was announced earlier that Stephen Enoch will be playing. If you want to read into things, you could say Stephen Enoch not having the best last 2 games. If you remember, he kind of gets himself barked at pretty good in the Syracuse game, having a little extra fun on his dunks. So he gets in trouble into that game. Has a very, very bad start. Only plays 5 minutes, which is probably a season low for Stephen Enoch. So, again, there was a little bit of discussion back and forth. Was it more the ankle, or was it more just the kind of doghouse, or with Malik Williams playing well or better than he has been playing? Like, how much of that had to do with Stephen Enoch's bench time? But again, people, remember, this is one of those games where Stephen Enoch is going to be playing against centers of his same size and stature. So he doesn't have to worry about being the bull in the china shop, Stephen Enoch. Because I think if you were to, psychoanalyze him, I would tell you he's the worst against small centers. He's worried about charging. He's worried about his elbows getting him. He doesn't really play low. He likes to match up against other guys his size. Nick Richards was one of those guys. I think Wake Forest had a big man that liked to bump a little bit. Miami had a big guy that liked to bump again a little bit. Florida State has 2 of them. And those 2 may kind of help Stephen Enoch bust out of that quote-unquote shell just a little bit. Like I said, that's something I'll need you guys to look for. Now we're talking about road game. Now we're talking about full road game. I don't think there'll be black uniforms. Mitch, have you seen any release of the uniform of the University of Louisville? What color they're going with? The smoke uniforms have not been the greatest to us. Again, you are a 2.5-point underdog at Florida State, at sold out Florida State. I don't know if that line has moved very much. You lost 78-65 at home. Florida State, Florida State shot great. I mean, as of now, we're just going to assume the Texas asked if there's a starting lineup. We're going to assume it's going to be Fresh Kimball, David Johnson, Malik Williams, Jordan, and Dwayne Sutton. We're going to assume that Florida State has pretty much had the same starting lineup all year. Oh man, they got some players. Their points per game in the front lineup: 11, 10, 12, 6, and 6. Their starting lineup goes 6-4, 6-5, 6-8, 6-9, 6-7. That's one of the only teams that I've seen matched up and just seem to out-height us. But I think we got lineups that could really, really go toe-to-toe. Let me get back to the phone lines. Again, 267-968 and jump in here on the official pregame show. Skip, thanks for joining us on the official pregame show. Fire away. You know I'm doing good. How's it going? Ugh. Ugh. Here's the thing. Of course I've noticed it, and it's absolutely drove me crazy. And I appreciate the call, Skip. It has absolutely drove me crazy the entire year. But here's the thing. I think he's gotten away with it for so long, and he's been pretty efficient before late season. He's gotten away with it, you know? And again, he's not been seen as scorer guy. He's gotten away with it, but here's the thing. Now that he has somebody getting him the ball in a position to score, he doesn't have that excuse anymore. I think after the Syracuse game, I think the coach was able to have enough film of a full game to say, Malik, you are costing yourself points, you are costing the team points, you are costing David Johnson assists. I mean, and I'm just talking about a full game of data where we can see you get the ball 3 times in a row and not convert them. You know, not being strong with the ball, not being strong with your legs, just not being strong in general. But I think this is where David Johnson coming along. Originally, I thought David Johnson would help Stephen Enoch a lot, but I think Stephen's been a little bit of a victim of bad luck as of late. But I did think that David Johnson making the right dish was going to help the big man get better. But here's the thing, Skip. That's to your point. You hope he gets better. You hope he gets quicker. If you're in practice, all you're doing is running mock pick and rolls and getting him to shoot as fast as he can. You know, but here's the thing. That's probably going to be more of an off-season thing. Like, I don't know how much better he can get in the last 3 games of the year. But I agree with you. You're going to have to turn those good passes into buckets because he's going to have to make these big guys work. Or like you're not going to have much of an inside presence at all unless Stephen Enoch comes back, really hitting on all cylinders. D, thanks for joining us on the pregame show. Fire away. No, listen. This is one of those big red kind of cinnamon games. You know, just some. Because here's the thing: when I used to get gum from Jonathan Israel before the game, I never knew what he was gonna have. And you know, if you get Mitch, what are those? What is the gum? The small gum, the cinnamon little square. What is that gum? No, no, no. Just the old school, the little square, the little square, not the long square. Oh, we're terrible. You know what I'm talking about? But oh man, as soon as we go to commercial break, somebody's gonna text in. But yeah, this is kind of a cinnamon. I hated the cinnamon gum. It used to put me in a bad mood, and I think you're gonna have to do a lot of screaming today. I think when you go to the basket, you're gonna have to be looking to get and ones on the road with the screaming. I'm gonna need screaming Stephen Enoch so much so. Don't be surprised if a piece of gum pops out of somebody's mouth when they're in the middle of screaming on an and one. That's what kind of mood it's going to be in. I tell you what, we're going to take our one commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go into personnel. Who needs to have a good game? Who do I look for to have a good game? And all the other details. Quick commercial break for the official ESPN Louisville pregame show on ESPN 680 and 1057. Chiclets. Give me 30 more seconds. We can roll.
Coach Davenport called dead team.
Yeah.
He said he should be here any minute. I'm jumping in with you.
That's good. Is it Big Red? Welcome back to the official ESPN Louisville pregame show. Trying to get ready for this game. Somebody was kind enough to hold on through the break, so let me get the second half started. Going right to the phone lines. Tino the Barber, long time no hear from. Fire away. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. You're right. No, listen, 100%. I heard the part where Jordan kind of talked about them bumping heads a little bit in the past, and I did hear all that. Anthony. Yeah. Right. Listen, here's the thing, Tina, and I appreciate the call. If David establishes a good tempo, he can do that. If David Johnson kind of if he gets the ball up the court a little quicker and kind of in that broken court, transition, kind of that secondary transition action, if he can control that part of the game, I think his vision's good enough. I think the team is starting to play a little more downhill. I think David Johnson can get those opportunities. But if they have to take the ball out of the nets and walk it up and allow Florida State to set up in their defenses and their three-quarter courts and their semi-pressures, if Louisville has to face that the entire night, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough to get into the offense. It's going to be really tough to get into the lane. It's going to be really tough to just execute in general. So, I do agree. Like I said, David, I like this strength. But here's the thing. Lawrence said it, and I agree. Your toughness is going to show. And again, if Coach Mack preaches toughness, you can count on that being like a Moody Mack. Put it that way. My best description is Moody Mack on the sideline. A Coach Mack just from the beginning calling timeouts, jumping on guys, substituting, kind of with an urgency. If these guys don't look like they are the aggressors from the very beginning of the game. So, that's one part. The other part is, listen, your inside play has got, you have to be better if you're Malik. I agree with you when you say, and I say better, with a disclaimer. Scoring points is good. Getting rebounds is good. You did exactly what you're supposed to do against a Syracuse zone team. Getting good numbers. But what I'm saying is, offensively, to draw those fouls, to draw the attention, because you do have a Jordan Nwora, and the best way to help Jordan Nwora do anything on the court is to draw attention. The easiest way to help Jordan Nwora have a good game offensively is if you do what you're supposed to do. When you have the opportunities to hit layups, when you have the opportunities to get inside buckets like with Malik, that's when you start making the rest of the defense take notes. I think it's going to be really important to have, a consistent presence on the inside. I don't think David Johnson's going to be the key. I think your key is going to run through Stephen Enoch and Malik Williams for this game. Now, here's the thing. Leonard Hamilton, he is a let his guys go out and do the work kind of coach. it's fascinating. The later in the season you get, the coaches that feel like the work is done, they know if their guys have got it really, really early in the game. Like I could go down the roster and I could say, listen, Trent Forrest, a senior, 11 points a game, 4 assists or rebounds per game. Trent Forrest, he is a senior guard, 6'4", 210. I heard the other day, one of the commentators, I forget which one it is in particular, said he has a chance of getting in the books for being the all-time winningest player in Florida State history. Now, if you're my age, you're thinking Bob Sura, Charlie Ward. You're thinking, those guys that played some real basketball at Florida State. If you're my age, or if you're a bit of historian and know your basketball, to be talked about as all-time winning numbers, that means you've won a lot of games. So here's the thing: win or lose, you are dealing with the perfect scenario. Because here's the thing: Florida State to me is Diet Baylor. Is a Diet Baylor. Florida State, when they're like at their peak emotional, to me they're Baylor. If you want to have a conversation, if you want to vibe, if you want any feelings about being anywhere around the Elite 8 world, you have to be able to take on a Florida State at home. Because again, Florida State at home in front of a packed house is going to be the equivalent of let's see, a good Big Ten team against a Penn State in the second round. Because listen, these matchups in this NCAA tournament are going to be a nightmare. Listen, I know this is ESPN Louisville pregame show, but let's face it, we're thinking ACC regular season, ACC tournament, and NCAA tournament. We're completely past the point of being bashful about saying I'm thinking about matches. I'm telling you, when those tournament seeds come out, there's going to be 2 type of people in the world: people who don't know how tough these teams are, and the traditionalists. Well, I guess I kind of messed that up, but my point is, you're going to look at your line, and the people that know basketball are going to say, oh my God, we got the group of death, right? Because you're going to see Dayton and San Diego State in your bracket, right? And one group of people, one group of fans are going to be like, Dayton and San Diego State, that's all we got? Championship, right? Yeah. No, listen, there's going to be the group that says Dayton and San Diego State, and they're going to laugh, and then they're going to jump on the phone, and they're going to say, we should win, man. We ain't no way we should be in the Final Four. And then you're going to have the Marcus side of the crowd that says Dayton and San Diego State are our matchups. Like, oh my God, you set us up. Your matchups and seedings are going to be tough no matter what. This is one of those years, as Coach Davenport just stepped in the building, getting ready for his show, I presume. Coach Z, are you excited about that? I see you got the preparation of the notes ready to go. Coach, and let me just say this. I was listening to you join into 680 earlier, and you do not have a chance. Like, people they put you as Mr. Bellarmine himself, but they don't realize you're as emotional watching Louisville as any good basketball can be. I dare you to try to do a live action viewing of a University of Louisville Florida State game. And listen, not the fan, Coach Davenport. I'm talking about the coach of basketball watching a Florida State Louisville game. You'll be going crazy on the radio.
I'm doing it on the air.
It's going to be, Coach, don't try it.
No, I'm going to do it on the air.
No, Coach, it's a train wreck. It's waiting to happen. I'm telling you. You're a coach at heart. You're going to talk like a coach. You're going to watch like a coach. You're going to criticize like a coach. You're going to be so caught up in the game, you're going to forget that there is a microphone in front of you. Abort, Omaha, find a new route. No, listen, that was one side of me, coach.
Who do you think I'll watch games with?
Nobody.
Absolutely. Either on the bus by myself, sitting in my seat, or on my iPad, or at home, either by myself,
Yes.
or Sharon's sitting there and she's reading, and she's like, "What are you talking?" I'm going to watch it tonight during the show on the air.
Coach, that takes a lot of discipline.
I can do that.
Listen, I've tried.
What if people call
tough.
in and say, "Coach, what did you just see?" We'll see.
Coach, listen, I heard it, and it always sounds like a great idea. Live, interactive radio, watching the game. But I'm telling you, when I watch it, I'm just like, oh my God, did I just record myself watching this game? Like, it's tough, Coach. It is absolutely tough. But I applaud. Listen, I applaud
It'll
the
take
idea.
this one.
Yeah, it will.
It will.
It will. Okay. Well, since you're here, we're to our last few minutes. Just give me an update on Bellarmine's route and everything going on.
Well, let's go backwards. Last weekend, incredible uptick for us. Exactly what you want to have on the road.
Late season.
Late season, where it's just you and them.
Tests.
It's perfect. I mean, it was perfect. It wasn't the greatest competition, but we did what we were supposed to do, playing the right way. Shoot 60% both games, 23 assists on 30 baskets one game, 26 on 30 the other.
How much stake do you put in doing what you're supposed to do late season and the concentration that it takes
Doing what
to
you've
be
been
that
taught in
disciplined?
practice. That's it. And Marcus, but I'll tell you, we went through, and I know people, focus on Louisville, Kentucky, and Indiana. I get it. We lost 4 out of 5 games in a stretch of nothing I've ever experienced in my life. All 4 of them were in the last 5.5 seconds.
4 out of 5 in last 5 seconds.
And every way you could lose one. We lost one on a team we're much the best, where we hit it. We got a piece of the 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it went in.
Right.
So if he hits it an eighth of an inch more, or if he doesn't hit it, and we could beat him. We played the team that was number 1 in the league.
And apply. People listening, I want you to apply this to all the basketball you've seen. Like that's why
we
this is
play a
important.
team number 1 in the league on a Thursday night a week ago, 2 weeks ago this Thursday, and we're up 1, and the clock says 4 seconds. They went to the monitor, and because we've upgraded our technology because of the transition June 1st to go to Division 1,
Congratulations,
the
Dan.
4 cameras instead of what we had a year ago. A year ago, they're still going to put 4 on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have enough evidence. Because of our technology, they put 4.5. A kid who's 0 for 3 from the 3. We kept the ball. We doubled the best player in the whole league. A player who's 0 for 3 from the 3 hits a 34-foot contested 3 by 2 people. We had 2 guys contested, and he hit it. And if you time it, and we did it like 7 times independently, 4.15 seconds. If they don't put the extra half,
Listen, and you're a good
win the
coach.
game.
Like you're a good coach, and you see yourself as a good coach, and you have to explain how a good coach lost 4 out of 5. And I sit here every day.
We had a kid.
explain
We
the
had a
same
kid
thing.
at Rockhurst in Kansas City. He hit a 3 to win the game with 3 seconds to go from NBA range, top of the circle.
Mm.
Now, Marcus, you were a great shooter. You were a left-right shooter. Step with your left foot, step with your right.
Right. Yep. Step into it.
Left, right.
Yeah. I thought I could do it other ways,
He
but
shot off his right foot, and I mean, there's no way.
right.
I can let you go shoot 100. You're not making 20. Bottom.
Right.
But Marcus, here's what I agree. I draw so much strength. The game I mentioned 2 weeks ago, Thursday night, against Truman State, at the time number 1 team in our league. We get beat. If we win that game, if he doesn't make that 3 contested by 2 people,
Mm-hmm.
at literally in the air, and the bad thing, 1 inch out of his hands, it was in all the way. It was in. If he doesn't hit it, what's the locker room like? Everybody's going crazy.
Yeah.
You know how many people were in the locker room? 2 former players that graduated last year, not another soul.
Mm.
So who do you really have when you leave that huddle? You have each other. Well, the next day, 43 hours later, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm wrong, 13 hours later, 13 hours. We have practice at 1 o'clock Friday, based on class schedules. Every single player was on the court at 11:25.
Let me ask you this: when you talk about getting Bellarmine and your reputation in your league, right? Do you feel like you get people's best shot? Because that ends up always being here's the thing. There's a difference between our defense isn't great this game, or we're playing Bellarmine. We've been getting ready for Bellarmine the entire year.
Let's go to facts. We beat the current #1 team in the region, University of Indianapolis. They beat us, excuse me. We beat them in December. They beat us in January on Martin Luther King Day. They took selfies at midcourt on a regular season conference game in our gym.
Which means something.
But to answer your question, I take my subjectivity out of it. They took selfies at midcourt. We documented that. Let's take, we lost the game at Illinois Springfield, and they stormed the court, our locker room, you name it. Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah, how do you present that to the team? We're
You
gonna
don't
get.
have to.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm gonna ask, because here's the thing. I mean, this is Louisville. Like, we talk about this. Kentucky fan says the same thing. We get everybody's best shot. Louisville, especially this year with their high ranking, they say we get everybody's best shot. Sometimes you want to say you need to improve your defense, and sometimes you need to say, look, they're just gonna hit everything. Assume they're gonna hit everything. So anything you let them even shoot, assume it's gonna go in, and fight like hell to get the rebound.
As hard as we scout and as hard as we prepare and as hard as we analyze, it's going to be different against us.
Right.
I mean, I watch a team and just say,
Dissect them. Yeah.
it ain't going to come like that. No, Marcus, you're right. Tonight will be an example. You know, it's the human element in the game. And it is, but like I say, my guys had their hearts ripped out at 10 o'clock on a Thursday and 11:30 for a 1 o'clock practice. They're already on the court. Hey, man, I don't care. They're my guys.
Right.
They're my guys.
Right. In your last year, your seniors last year before the transition, which is probably adding a little more stress to the season, yeah?
It's been, Marcus, because of 4 incredible seniors, Alex Cook, Ben Wire, Chris Palmezio, and Parker Chitty, maybe the toughest year I ever coached in my life, because the city has been incredible about the transition. But if that was your son, if that was Jordan Reeves, that was your son, and somebody said, oh, he plays at Bellarmine? And you said, yeah, and they go, man, they're going D1. And you say, well, no, he's a senior.
Yeah, he's a senior, right.
How would you feel?
No, I guess I totally get that.
Marcus, I'll look you in the eye. We brought him back to campus on August 21st. There has not been one syllable out of my mouth about next year.
Yeah.
Let's go win a championship for these 4 seniors, because they are the reason this is happening.
Yeah, and I asked you that question in particular because now you're getting down to the stretch where you have a Dwayne Sutton, which you offered him a scholarship coming on.
God.
Look, you did a Marcus shimmy right there. Yeah, the Dwayne.
Stan went to Iroquois, I went to Iroquois. We loved him, and he goes, well, Coach, we're just going to take a shot at Asheville, but we'll transfer back. The next call I get better transfers from Coach Petito. And he goes, Scotty, I understand. I said, Coach, man, coach. If there's ever been a kid who could play for Coach Petito,
right,
it's Dwayne Sutton.
Right. Asheville's a beautiful place, though, Coach. I'm from Asheville, like.
No, I know.
I see why they're around.
And he went, and he wanted to, he.
Yeah, you can't fault him.
But his dad, like I said, his dad went to Iroquois. His dad's younger than I am, but I went to Iroquois. We had a little bit of a relationship. I saw him early, actually in the fall before practice starts in his junior year. What was amazing about Dwayne Sutton in high school, it didn't make any difference if they were playing the best team in Louisville, if they were playing the best team in the state of Kentucky, if it was Male Manual, if it was their biggest rival. He's going to get 22 and 10 every game. If they were playing a team that they were much the best, that they're going to win by 30 or 40, he'd get 21 and 10 every game. It was unbelievable. He's a basketball player.
Yeah. No, yeah. So when you see him, you see this senior lineup, like it's got to be tough being in that locker room, knowing, these guys that have really given it up. And again, had to go through some transitions. You cannot understate the trust of another coach who I don't necessarily know,
Right.
and I have to surrender my my development and my
Yeah, I don't
growth
speak
to
for
another.
other coaches. I don't speak for Coach Mack, Coach Calprin, but I can tell you this, Marcus. What's toughest for me, for Scott Davenport, is you want it so much for them, maybe too much for them. It does.
Mhm. No, listen, so much so that when I'm saying, Coach Mack, what are you doing? Get him out the game. Get the young fella in the game. Like when I'm sitting, just like I said, being, I'm saying, you feel like they've given up so much for you. Like I could see you as a coach saying, I'm going to go with Parker. Even though he doesn't got this game, I'm going to believe in him because he's done so much for me, even though he may not have it. And, again, when we're criticizing from this side of the table rather than the other side, you're like, listen, if it was you and your senior has given you this much, commitment, you owe him, or you feel like you owe him, even if your basketball brain says, no, the right move is to go with the young guy in this situation.
We got back around midnight Saturday night, and we're in the office, the entire day and night yesterday, and various players are in the gym, and one of them came up, one of our senior, I won't say who, we're talking, and he had not had a great game he had a great half. He didn't have a great second half on Sunday, and he was down on himself about the way he finished the game. This young man stands for everything that's ever right about college basketball. And I just asked him one question. I said, how were your teammates? And he looked at me. He said, what? I said, how are your teammates? He said, what do you mean? Well, so-and-so played pretty good. So I said, no. How were they towards you?
Right.
And he said, Coach, to a man, every single one of them, 15 strong.
Right.
They were all over me. I said, hey, man, doesn't happen everywhere. Doesn't
Right.
happen everywhere.
Right.
And I asked him this morning after individual instruction and prior practice, I said, do you mind if I share our conversation with the team? He said, no, Coach, I'd be proud to tell them I appreciate everyone being there for me. See, that's what makes this a team game.
Overall, listen, Coach, we totally turned this thing. I'm so glad you came.
No, I just crashed because we did this once before, remember?
Yeah, and basketball is basketball. So you talking about Bellarmine, everybody can superimpose and vicariously, coach their teams and see coaches' perspectives. Mitch, that was fun. Red uniforms. They threw away the smoke experiment. Coach Davenport, good luck.
Wait a minute. He's not starting Maven? What is wrong with him?
Man, y'all would bench me in a second, man.
Hey, wait a minute.
Look, everybody wears the hat.
I was Marcus's biggest advocate, Mitch. Trust me.
Look.
I got him to change his hair.
See what I'm saying? Trust. I had to trust you to actually cut my hair. That's going to be a story. You're going to have to come in, crash the show during the day on Middays with Mark Smith. That's going to do it for the official ESPN Louisville pregame show on ESPN 680.
Well, this is one of the best right here, Marcus Maven.
Appreciate it, Coach Davenport.
You come in there with them twists. I said, man, if you spend as much time thinking about your basketball as your hair, come in the next day, I'm so hard, man.